kind of was sort of referencing RPOs and how you guys use them and whether the right decisions are being made to hand it off or throw. First of all, do you have more of those this year than maybe you guys had last year? And then how long does it? How much time does it take to sort of get comfortable running those plays for the quarterback and the running back?
Well, we had none last year, to answer the question. We didn't do RPOs, maybe one or two. Coach Whipple was not a RPO believer. How long does it take? It takes time. It takes time. Particularly if they're pressuring the guy that you're reading, and it takes a little bit more time. If the guy, what we're trying to do is we're trying to put guys in a situation where they have to play the run and the pass. And so they're either late to the run or too fast on the run and can't play the pass. So it takes time.
Israel said that he felt like he focused a little bit better on anticipating what was coming on the defense. What did you see in his preparation last week that had the turnaround from not as high on the ground versus a really good game this week?
Well, he had a few more opportunities, and we ran the ball a lot more, and we ran the ball with more success. And everybody in my room, we're always trying to study the film so we can anticipate things. So I think part of that's just part of maturity with Izzy, and the same with the rest of the guys in the room.
You like that workload for him, 25, 26 touches in a game?
Yeah, that's the most he's ever played. 73 plays I think he played. So, one of the biggest things I have to do now is monitor how much he gets on Tuesday and Wednesday. He ran, according to the GPS, about 7,600 yards Saturday. So like today in practice, when he got around 3,000 yards, I pretty much shut him down, which is good. So now it allows the other guys to get more reps. So when they get their at bat, they're better prepared. And going back to when we first started using GPS, when we had 2018 with Allison and Hall here, their top speed was about 20 miles an hour in the GPS. And when they went much more over 3,000 yards on Tuesday and over 3,000 yards on Wednesday, they never hit 20 on Saturday. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure they're peaked for the game. And so just like with race horses, you gotta get your horse to the race fresh. He's got to have work. He's got to know what's going on. He's got to be able to feel some of those things. But he can't be worn out when he gets there Saturday.
Where did Izzy top out on that long run?
You know what? I didn't even check, but it was fast. It was fast. I don't know what it was. I didn't check on that. Izzy's normally about 21 top speed. Yeah.
Andre, obviously, Sibo's new. How close is he to being able to make an impact at some opportunities?
He's ready now. The last couple games, the first game, Rodney got hot, and when a guy gets hot, you don't take him out of the game. This game, Izzy got hot. I had planned to play. We talk about during the week how we plan on playing the players. And I had planned on playing Sibo both games. Sibo's game ready. But sometimes it just doesn't work out like you plan. A guy gets hot, you don't take him out of the game. And so he's eager. I feel for him because I've been there and I've been around other guys that have been game ready and didn't get his crack, but when he does get his crack, he'll do a good job.
With the quarterback room as banged up as it is, do you feel like your guys put a little bit of extra emphasis on their work this week to be maybe even more prepared, knowing that they might have to take on a little bit more? We prepare to win the game, and whatever the game plan calls for. One thing you have to guard against is playing outside yourself. And so, when we call a play, it's to max that play out. And if it's a run, it's a run. If it's a pass, it's a pass. But just play within yourself and play as hard as you can play, and things will work out.
You brought up Rodney's Week 1 performance. What stood out to you about him in that game?
Well, Rodney has a knack for, we track what we call post-contact yards. And I always say this, when we get to the guy we didn't block or couldn't block, what's your value? If we block a 4-yard play and you get 4 yards, anybody sitting here can do that. We block a 4-yard play, you got to get 8 or 9, at least a high percentage of the time. So that was the greatest thing with Rodney. Rodney is unbelievably quick. He's quicker than fast, okay? And so as a defender, he gets up on you much faster than you think he's gonna. And he's got really, really good power. So that's what I saw with Rodney. I mean, that's what you typically see with Rodney.
How have you seen you guys stack up in pass protection the first 2 weeks of the season?
I'm sorry?
How have you seen your guys stack up in pass protection?
Okay. That's one of the things we're always stressing, and for running backs, that's always the area where you got to be sharp. You got to be sharp in protection, and there's a lot of communication based on the front. West Virginia was not that exotic with their pressures. Tennessee was a little bit more, and you have to know when to expect them, what down and distance to expect them, what part of the field to expect them. And I would say I would give our grade a C+ in terms of recognition, physically picking the guy up that's pressuring, and getting exactly where we're supposed to be in the passing game. We got to really improve there.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Andre, how has Ben handled missing a couple of kicks, and what's your message?
My message? Just keep stroking, man. You can overreact, and when you overreact, they feel it. And so I really hadn't said much to him, just looked at the kicks, looked at the snaps, looked at the holes, just talk about it. But there's no need for alarm. Obviously would like to make those 2 kicks the other night, would have been a big deal in the game. There's a couple of runs we'd like to have back, would have made a big difference. There's probably a couple of plays on defense that would have made a big difference. So there's a lot of places where we could have improved, and he's one of those guys. He's got to improve. That the expectations are to make those field goals.
What did you notice on those 2 kicks that he was maybe doing wrong? And you suggest?
Approach a little bit was off, and with a kicker, you can only, if you're off a couple of inches now, 30 yards from where you do your work. If you're off a couple of inches, it translates to maybe feet down the field, and so just a little bit off.
You bring up all these analytics and measuring speed and GPS tracking. How much of that is maybe fused with your prior knowledge and maybe before you started using all these analytics, or is it all reliant on the analytics now?
I'm not for sure I'll follow you.
With the GPS tracking, right, with measuring speed,
well,
and everything, how much of is it actually, is it 100% we're going to rely on the GPS, or is it?
No, it's 100%. It's some field too. I mean that's a machine, and it can't see, and it can't feel. We started using GPS back when I was at Maryland, but we tracked it, but we never did anything with it. And really, I never even paid it any attention until 2018, and that was after I had been here for 3 years, and we had it prior to that. And just casually, we go over those numbers in our meeting, and I noticed, where Hall and Ollison were hitting their top speeds, and I noticed one week they weren't there, and I went back and looked with the help of our strength coach at the time, and it's pretty evident that and you can run a lot more than you think you run, just sitting there casual. I mean, it's a machine; it counts. So if you run at a certain speed, it tracks it. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
1 or 2 more for Coach Powell? How's Vince going to be involved this week?
Well, again, he's involved every week. He played a little bit more last week. I know he was disappointed. I was disappointed. I couldn't get him in the game. And maybe he's the guy that gets hot this week. You gotta be ready when you get your opportunity. You have to be prepared, because you never know when you're gonna get an opportunity to make an impact. So maybe this week, maybe next week.